This video, much like the previous one, I don't know if it's going to be uploaded before or after, which is why I'm mentioning it, is being recorded on the Samsung Galaxy Light T399. I also have it in a case now, so I'll see if that impacts audio. Anyway, here we have an Ölevia LT26HVX or something like that. Now, I bought this one on eBay. It had it shipped here. And this television is one that I have been seeing for sale for a couple years now, and nobody's bought it, and obviously nobody was going to buy it. It's damaged. This is how it was. Like, this is how it was being sent. It's got it's got that. It's got that. It's got a crack there. And this is separating. It does work, though. So after looking at it for a couple years, I figure, yeah, nobody's gonna buy this. So naturally I did. Actually, because I do have a use for this. Like, I actually know where I'm going to use it. So, yeah. Let me go ahead and flip it around to the back. Now here we can see the back, and the astute among you may notice something's missing. That's because I've removed it. Now, much like some really high-end monitors, this has a card that just slots in and gives you all these inputs. Right here. It just slots in. This has the tuner, the composite and component video, and S-video on it. Presumably, you could get a card with a digital tuner and install that, because this is an analog tuner, or maybe even one with HDMI, although I don't believe such cards were ever made. That definitely does provide some interesting expansion options that unfortunately I don't believe they ever took advantage of. It's an LT26HVX, I believe that's what I said. Syntax, before Syntax and Brillian merged. Now these things are even heavier than the later sets. This thing is solid. I mean, look at the metal in there, and we're going to take it apart and look at it some more, but yeah, there you go. I believe I'm probably going to have to glue a bunch of standoffs and stuff like that. I'm going to try to straighten this out. I don't even know how it's like this, because it doesn't look like it's pushed in at all. So we're going to have to see. I'm going to make this as good as I can, just structurally. Probably a bunch of super glue is going to be involved, but hopefully I can save it. It does work, by the way. It works just fine. So inside of here is about what I was expecting. Interestingly enough, I had another that was a 32-inch Ölevia TV that had been dropped or something. I had the same issue. As far as the back of this, I'm going to try to heat that up and just see if I can... it's a little bent too. If I can just heat that up with like a heat gun or something and kind of bend it back. I'm not too concerned about that. I'm more concerned about the bezel pulling away. I'm going to have to straighten these tabs out and try to glue the screw thing back in. And then I've got several of these type deals. These are easy to glue back on. Looks like the same deal's going around the top here. The speaker, I don't really even know if the speaker ever had anything holding it in. It's just kind of mounted on these and it wasn't pushed in, so I mean yeah, that's staying. That's how this one is. So I believe that's fine. It's actually a decent speaker for a TV. I bet this thing's got pretty decent sound. Ported. So here's something rolling around. Oh, it's another one of those type things. So I have to find all those and glue them back where they go. Just out of curiosity, I'm going to take these boards off and just show them as well. But then I'm going to have to remove all of this. Pretty much I'm going to remove everything from the front case here. The front case is not just like the other one structural. The stand screws directly to here, so structurally the front bezel doesn't do anything other than decoration, so I just want to get it to where it doesn't come off and it'll be fine. But yeah, look how well well built these things are. I mean, Sony, no. Everyone goes like, oh, you know, Ölevia, oh, you get a Sony. What about Sony? I've dealt with Sonys from this same era. And while I won't say they're junk, they're definitely not built to the same extent that these things are. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna remove everything and we'll be back. Oh, interesting. It looks like this is a 8 ohm 10 watt speaker. That's pretty damn good for a television. So I unplugged the speakers, just removed them. They plug right into here. They're not soldered. They plug in. Here's the board. It's like the main board. It says for LPL panel. There's a serial number and part number. Says looks like different revisions for different panels. These capacitors are Econ, never heard of them. JackCon. Oh shit! Oh, sorry, my chair almost flipped over. I've unplugged this. I'm gonna leave this mounted in here. I don't see. Well, the button. Actually, I take that back. The power button doesn't quite work right. And if you look, when I press on this, the screw moves. So I'm going to have to take this off too, because one of those standoffs that the screw goes into is broken. So I'm going to have to work on that. Power supply in this thing is very high quality. Looks like it's just an off-the-shelf Delta unit. So presumably, this is something you could get made. By off-the-shelf, I just mean that it's made by Delta and doesn't appear to be too extremely specific. It's a unit. It comes off as a unit. I did remove it. I wanted to look at the board and see what brand capacitors, but it just removes as a unit. I don't feel like digging into it. I believe I can probably just remove this whole thing now, but we'll see. I'm going to be very careful. I don't want to damage it any worse than it already is. So I'm going to just remove the panel. We're going to glue this. I'd like you to find another restoration of an Ölevia LCD television on YouTube. There's one that claims to be, but it's really just a guy wiping it off. I'd like you to find anyone else in the world who is doing what I'm doing right now. Find another collection of Ölevia LCD televisions. I believe I have nearly 20 of these things. That's got to be like the largest collection of these in the world. Of course, not counting like, you know, stock from an old warehouse or something like that. Not because they're valuable or rare, but just because nobody else gives a shit. Anyway, yeah, I'll be back, I guess, when I get this out. I might glue it first. I will, yeah, oh. I apologize for the shitty positioning. I'm going to put this somewhere safe, but I'm holding it right now, so I'm just going to show it there. I would love to know what happened to this television to bend this thick-ass metal there, and here, and here. Like, this thing didn't take a light dropping. Anyway, I'm going to have to straighten all those out. And there was one singular screw. Let me put this over there. There was one singular screw, this one here, which wasn't busted out. So most of these I can just glue back on fairly easily with super glue. And while I realize it, well, the thing is, super glue kind of melts plastic together. It's not really like a glue, and that's why I like it for plastic. I realize that's not going to be as structurally sound as it once was. It should be pretty decent. Because like I said, the only thing being held up by this is this bezel. Like the bezel and, well, this. all of that, and the stand, like, all of that's self-contained. This bezel is purely cosmetic, and to hold these buttons, like, that's the only thing. So if I can get, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4 screws in this thing, you know, that's fine. These ones are going to be a little bit more difficult, and if I can't get them, whatever. Because it's the metal piece came out instead of the whole standoff. And that happened on all 3 of the ones at the top. So that's going to be fun. These will just glue back on just fine. These, I don't know. We'll do what we can, but like I said, I think I can get that one, that one, that one, and that one for sure. I can definitely get that one as well. I would like to get at least, you know, one, maybe in the center up here. I'm going to go for all of them, but if some of them don't end up lining up properly, then that's fine. You know, it is what it is. I don't even know where the metal bit for that one went. These, the one I just threw on the floor, there's 2 of them. One right here. I suppose it doesn't really matter if I stand them up perfectly. One right here and one right here go all the way through. They don't grab the panel, they go through and grab screws that go through the back. So, yeah. I'm going to remove that because I can tell that one of those screws, this one here, I think that's the only one because the buttons don't work behind it. I mean, they work, but you have to really mash them. So this screw here is screwed up. Most likely the standoff, so broken as well. I'll see what I can do with that. And, yeah. We'll see. It's not going to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. And for what I paid for it, nobody else was going to buy it. That's not to say I paid an exorbitant amount. I'm sure you can look and find how much I paid for it and judge me from there. But it wasn't much. It was pretty much what it would cost to ship this thing plus, like, you know, maybe $10. Nobody else was going to buy it, and I'd been looking at it for a couple years feeling bad for it, but I just didn't have anywhere to put it, and I wasn't gonna, you know, if I see one of the, you know, a set like this, any Ölevia set that's in halfway decent shape for, you know, 10-20 bucks at the thrift store. There's a thrift store for some reason that always seems to have these. And I always get them really cheap, you know, 10-20 bucks. I'll pick it up and put it in the shed with all the other TVs, or, you know, put it somewhere and keep it for later or whatever. I wasn't going to go and order this and, you know, unless I had a spot for it. Well, now I do, so there you go. I figured this is just as good, so I'll put it together and I'll make it look good. As good as possible. Which really didn't look too broken unless you really started looking at it, so I suspect we can get it 85 to 90% back. The panel's fine. God, the panel looks really small once you get it out of the case, doesn't it? This is a 27-inch television, but with all that shit, it just looks so much bigger. Anyway, yeah. TV, bend those Torco snorculated little metal gweeblers and put these scroimly spoimlers back on there. You get the idea. I don't need to film doing it, but I will film after I did it, and we'll try to heat this up some and bend it back. We'll see how that goes. Okay, so I've just about glued all these back as good as I can. They're holding. Obviously the glue's only been on there for about 2 minutes. I used an excess of glue. I just put a small bit down and set it on there. Then once that firmed up a little bit, I went and put an excess on there. Too much glue is better than not enough glue. So I used too much glue. I did this crack here in the corner. That one was one of the ones where the metal thing, so we'll see how that holds up. I don't know. If that breaks, that's fine. I've got this one, that one, missing that one. I got that one. It seems like I had that one, though. Let me see if I can find it. I got all these pretty decent as well. That one's really good, and that's an important one. I've got almost all sides of that fixed. Same thing with that one, so I think we're good. This was the one that was broken off for the buttons, which I put somewhere. Glued that one. I couldn't find a little insert for this one. I'm not too concerned about that. I don't think it's going to be an issue. This post for this speaker was broken. I had 3 of them, but it was here, so I glued it back. And we're just going to put all the screws back. Obviously not using this because, well, super glued together. And hope for the best. I'm sure some of these are going to break again, but whatever can hold, holds. Here is where the speaker was cracked. On the other side, I think I showed the speaker grill was cracked. And this was the one screw that didn't break. It just kind of pulled it away. I pushed it back together and put some glue there. I don't know how it's going to look, but at least it's not cracked. I mean, I guess it is cracked, but it's glued. And these, around the edge, where it went through to the, the back cover, are all fine. So, I think we should be okay now. I'm going to let it dry overnight, of course. It'll be a bit more than overnight, but, I'll get back to it when I get back to it. Still got to do something about that. I still got to bend the screw tabs on that, how they go. Okay, got all the standoffs, including the one here that I thought I was missing, glued in place. And they seem to be, pretty decent. I can tell some of them aren't perfectly straight, especially the ones that I had to glue the little metal piece back into, like these. So some of these I'm probably not going to be able to get a screw back in. But if I could just get most of them, that's fine. The ones I thought were missing were still in there. I bent all those tabs back. So I'm going to put the screen back in here, and we're going to try to mount it. Okay, well here is the Ölevia 2... Wait, no, this ain't a 242. This is a LT26HVX. Put back together. Looks pretty decent. This is the best I could do here. It was cracked, I glued it, and I pushed it down with some heat. Ended up using a propane torch because, and this is a big shocker, the cheapest heat gun I could get at Harbor Freight, it came on for a few seconds, the coil started glowing red hot, and then it died. So, anyway, you can see now the screen isn't pulling away from the bezel anymore. There is still a crack here. I glued this, but it didn't go back together quite right. And there's still a little bit of a visible crack there. But overall, it looks pretty decent. We'll go ahead and turn it on. Well, I must have done something wrong, because that ain't right. So, do I get to take it back apart now? I suppose I do. Okay. Well, I'm looking, trying to figure out what I unplugged. I unplugged the speakers, and I unplugged that board down there. And then I look, and I see this. Now this is going... Oh no, this is going into the panel. So I'm going to push that back in like it's supposed to be. And I'm going to plug it in. I'm going to set the phone down for just a second. And I'm going to plug it in, because if I just assume that's our fix... Oh look, it's got little LEDs in here. If I just assume that's our fix, and put it back together, it's not going to work. But we can see that it is indeed working now. So, we'll go ahead and put it back together. Hopefully it'll stay working. Okay, so I put the back metal plate thing back on over the board and tested to ensure that it still worked, and it did. So I've gone ahead and put it back together. So of course now, if it were going to break, it would be when I put it fully back together. So let's see. Take your bets. Is it going to work? And it appears that it is. Alright, now here's what I want to try. I've got a couple of remotes. I don't know if I have the correct remote. This is an RCLTU. This is one of the two types that I know of that you can use with the later Syntax-Brillian Ölevia sets. The other one being the RCLTL. These two are pretty much interchangeable. The LTU is just a slightly nicer remote. It's heavier. It takes AA instead of AAA, and it has backlighting. But of course, as I suspected, it does not work with the earlier Syntax sets. So I believe what we need is one of these two, an RCLTN or an RCLTS. Now, this one doesn't have batteries in it. Neither does this one. Let me go get a couple of fresh pixels and I'll be right back. Okay, I put a couple of fresh pixels in there, and it does appear that the RCLTS is the correct remote for this set. Wow, the brightness is only at 50. Where's the black backlight? Because this is really bright. Like, this is almost too bright. Oh, jeez, no, I don't want to turn the brightness up anymore. This is a weird menu compared to the later Ölevia menu that the Syntax-Brillian sets go on. Of course, they have that little circle thing in the corner, like octagon or whatever. This is what the firmware on the later sets look like. Come on, give me the menu. There we go. Which a lot of people say they find confusing, but I guess I've just gotten so used to it that I know where everything is. Let me go to Advanced Picture Adjust. Okay. Try to, at least. Black Level Extender. DNR. I don't know what DNR is. We'll just leave it on middle then. White Pink Limitator. Flash Tone, Vertical Position. I don't know about any of that. Yes, kitty. Guessing, going... Can I just please go to, yeah, here we go, TV. TV 1. Alright. Judging by the fact that this thing doesn't even have HDMI, and knowing what I've seen on these before, this thing does not have, for crying out loud. This thing probably does not have a digital tuner, which is fine. I'm fine with that, because I don't use it anyway. But if we go to Air and Auto Search, you can see that it does appear to simply be interesting that it has a channel 1. There's no channel 1. There hasn't been a channel 1 since the 40s. Actually, I think it was earlier than that. Anyway, I suppose we can go and put this where its permanent, or at least semi-permanent home is going to be. And we can hook it up to a signal and just ensure that everything works. It should, because it's purely analog, so it won't be like some sets where HDMI doesn't work. So we'll go ahead and do that, and we'll be back. Stop recording. God, you're laggy. So this television, of course, does not support, or I should say does not have HDMI, so it leaves us with a couple of options for HDMI. We could get an HDMI to DVI adapter and use that and that. That would be a digital signal, and that would probably be the better thing to do because it does have audio input for, I'm assuming, would work with the HDMI, or sorry, the DVI. I'm not entirely sure. Wow, this thing's bouncy. Anyway, I'm guessing it would, but I'm not entirely sure. I might get one of those, but for now I'm using this because I have this. This is an HDMI to component adapter, which of course is analog. Now, the reason I'm doing this instead of like to composite, because I do have several HDMI to composite adapters, is because this still does 1080i, 1080p, not 1080p, there's no 1080p, I don't think, but it will do, you know, higher resolution. So I want to hook this into component 1. So let's see here, green, that is not green, that is blue, that is correct, blue, green, red, and then white and red. There we go. And I'm going to work on this. Right now I'm going to hook up a Roku just for testing. I was using a Fire Stick, or I wanted to use a Fire Stick because I can watch YouTube with no ads on there. And of course Roku is going to jam as many ads as they can down your throat. However, the Fire Stick doesn't want to work with this adapter for some reason. It just keeps boot looping when I hook it up to this adapter. Or I should say converter, because it's a active device. There we go. You can tie that through there. And then you won't even see that. There, look at that. I'm going to flip it around and I'll be back because this thing's heavy. Alright, here we go. Put it on that input. Well, it didn't do what I told it to do, now did it? Go! There you go. Why have I got no signal? There should very much be a signal. Do I have it on 2 instead of 1 by some stretch of the imagination? That says not support. This says no signal. So I might need to mash that crazy little button on the back of this converter. 480p, 60, 576p, 60, 720p, 50, 720p, 60. So it does not, I guess it was on, I want it on 720p, 60. There we go. I've got it on component 2 instead of component 1 by accident, apparently. I cannot see a damn thing because of this sun coming in here. This is so bright. I need to figure out how to turn that down. I guess brightness, but I would be looking more for a backlight control. I just want to put something random on that isn't Linus Tech Tips would be nice. Alright.
He took it out just a little fast.
The sound is good.
Oh,
You said wait for the beep.
there are 2 beeps. There's a beep, and then you're gonna wait for a beep. You hear the difference?
No.
Take it out and reinsert it.
Okay.
Oh,
From Is It Possible to
too damn loud.
Strayer University helps you earn your degree affordably with access to up to 10 no-cost gen ed courses. So you can
Yeah, this works good. I like this. The volume control I'm referring to. The volume control on the later models, like, each click is a lot more. So, like, I can hear it, but I can barely hear it. Like, I can adjust this a lot more.
And I have made some more upgrades to share with you guys. If you haven't seen that first video,
Like, the first click on the later models would be right about there, and if I wanted in between, I couldn't.
I'll also do a little Q&A.
Anyway,
And I have some future plans to share.
I'll quit stealing whoever's video that is. I apologize if that is you. Anyway, yeah, it looks good. It is way too bright. The camera can't even pick up on it. I've got to figure out that. But it looks good. The black level doesn't look horrible for an early LCD, which is something. Anyway, you know, on a side note, this is something that I've never understood, is the blue light coming on when the TV's off. When it's on, obviously the light goes off, and when it's off, the light comes on. Now, I think indicator LEDs such as this are stupid anyway, because what's the point? I mean, some of them turn on to tell you that the TV's on, which is stupid because it's obviously on. I know it's on. This one comes on to tell you the TV's off, but it's obviously off. I know it's off. What's the purpose? Okay, it's there to tell me that it's receiving power. Great! I know it's receiving power because it's plugged in, and if it's not receiving power, I'll figure out pretty quickly when I try to turn it on, and it doesn't turn on. Now, I know some of the higher-end models, like, I believe I have a 247 FHD T11 or something like that, but it's an FHD model, which is like the higher-end one. That has in the menu a place where I can just turn this light off. But I don't think these ones do. These smaller ones don't really. So, I have to just deal with that. Probably just cover it with a piece of tape or something. Bright blue light. It's stupid. The only purpose I see in an indicator light being decent, like useful, is on like a computer monitor where it tells you, okay, if it's off, you know, the light's not on at all. If it's on, but it's in standby because there's no signal, it's either blinking or it's red or something like that. And if it's on, it's lit up solid. That makes sense. This, what's the purpose in in that? It's stupid. Anyway, there you go. I have a 32-inch Ölevia set, and this is the only one that I like the light on. It would still be annoying if you're in a bedroom or something, but the logo itself is backlit, and it lights up blue like that when it's off, so that's, like, really awesome. But it's blue. It's bright blue, which is still stupid. They could have done what Vizio did, and Vizio is junk, obviously, but they used to have backlit lights, and when the TV was on, it was lit up blue, and when it was off, it was lit up red. That makes sense. I mean, if you want your backlit logo, you still don't need an indicator light like that one. That's just dumb. Anyway, there you go. That's it.